I mean, I've done 100-some pictures. I'm most proud of, I think, if there were 2 or 3 pictures, Thief is certainly one of them. The work in it, and Michael. I was doing something at Columbia. When I came out to my trailer, there was this guy sitting on a chair, a little manila envelope. And he said, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I said, "Yeah, I have one more take to do." And I came out, and it was Michael. And he handed me this thing, and I talked to him for a while. He had done the Jericho Mile movie for television. I took a look at it, and I liked it a lot. It looked like somebody who knew what they were doing. I read the script, and I just thought it was insane, really good. The writing was great. The subject matter was good. And the character, selfishly speaking, was terrific. I had a little power in those days. I was fairly popular at one time. So we put it together right away. Jerry Bruckheimer was the producer, and Tuesday, and, we got things together really quickly. Then the next thing I know, I'm in Gunsight, Arizona, with a guy named Jeff Cooper, who teaches like the CIA guys how to sweep a house. We went there for 2 days and learned how to handle this .45 that was important to Michael. Number one, there's a steady thing, like this triangle, you literally extend your left arm into your right arm. And so you have this braced against here, and it's like, it's very accurate, and there's this relaxed position, so to speak, and it was, it was just like that. And it was dead. We got to shoot pretty good.
Frank, there's ways of doing things that round off the corners. Make life easy for everybody. What's wrong with that?
And then I spent a month or two with the crew, with Santucci and all those guys, and the cops like Chuck.
Who the fuck do you think you are? What's the matter with you? You got something to say, or you waiting for me to ask you to dance?
It never occurred to you to try to work for a living? Take down your own scores?
Okay, fuck this guy.
I tell you something. I'm gonna be on your ass so much, you're gonna get careless. And on that day, I'm gonna be in that place.
The lock guy, who's a genius, he showed me stuff. He still had stuff. These guys were, if they would have become physicists, they would have been great, or whatever. They chose to be thieves because they were so inventive and clever.
Morning, Frank. Let me see. Come in. Would you like breakfast?
No, just some coffee, thanks.
We hung out a lot. It was so great. It was the cops and the thieves and, these stories. There was great respect for each other because the truth is, John's crew, and there was never any home invasions, and they never hurt anybody. They didn't do shit with guns.
Carrots, bread.
It was basically all insurance jobs, So it would be uncut diamonds or cash. And that was it. And they wouldn't go after anything unless it netted them whatever that big number was. They wouldn't take the risk, and it was a crew. There was the lock expert, the fire guy, the safe guy, the phone jack guy. They had these crew of guys who know it all. These guys were geniuses. They would get into places that were impossible. It's just amazing. And if man built it, man can get into it. Writers don't like to hear this, but I don't mean to put the writers down, because without them, there's no tale. But the words are pretty much secondary. They're important to start the thing off. But when you look at film, it's all about behavior, really. So there's a real life, something real. You're not talking words.
Look, I got some ABC type information for you, lady. I was state raised, and this is a dead place. A child in 8x4 green walls. After a while, you tell the walls, my life is yours. Did you grow up in the suburbs?
Yes.
Right. What are you looking at? Huh?
If you listen to the whole picture, I chose, there's not one contraction in it. I never say isn't, wasn't. So it was, I am the last guy. This is not the way it is supposed to be, whatever. And it was very, distinct and strange. You want to make people join a Lonely Hearts Club,
I am a straight arrow. I am a true blue kind of a guy. I've been cool. I am now unmarried. So let's cut the mini moves and the bullshit and get on with this big romance.
It was pretty much the story of a guy who tells his story pretty much with that scene with Tuesday in that coffee shop. But it really turns out a guy who's in a hurry to achieve this collage because there were like 11 years of his life stolen because he robbed $40 or something.
What is this?
That is my life. Nothing, nobody can stop me from making that happen.
There were a lot of choices, you know, in Thief, and I made that choice early to be, you know, very distinct and not give a shit about anybody. You know, no fear of anything. There's nothing you could do to me that I'm afraid of. I've had it all done to me. And in that thing, which I loved, I think that's one of my favorite scenes, probably my favorite scene. And I was so proud, like when Strasbourg and they used to do that scene, like at the studio and other places, they, you know, for their students. I mean, I was so crazy. I mean, just being that guy, you know, it's like people don't realize actors are just nuts.
Maybe there is a reason. You ever think of that? Hey, I'm talking to you. Hey, take a walk, Flash, all right? Go on.
Hey. But part of being one that's fairly successful is like you can't just push a button. So whether you like to admit it or not, a certain osmosis takes place, you know, and you actually become a little bit of that guy. There was this one scene, like there was this guy, big guy. The guy was like 6'4", he had to weigh 240. I didn't hit him. I just went, boom, hit him in the jaw, pow! You know, get out of my fucking way. I didn't say anything. This guy went to Michael and said, son of a bitch, you hurt me. That big animal, I just slapped him in the chest. They don't come along like that, too. I mean, that kind of character, you get just so involved. Michael, I mean, you have to understand the guy's good, but he's a workaholic. He was very focused, Napoleonic, actually. And, you know, he's a loon, but he's good. We'd start like Monday morning at 6 o'clock or 5:30, some stupid hour, right? And then he'd work till 8 o'clock at night. I mean, it was brutal. 18 hours, as nuts as that sound, was kind of fairly ordinary for us. But it was tough like that. And Michael was, you know, he was pretty precise in a good way, you know. One of my last things was they had a big Richmond lock and safe there, you know? And the guys were there, and they gave me a magnetic drill which weighed close to 200 pounds. And they go, Jimmy, break it. What? Go ahead, go into the safe. I said, you gotta be kidding me. Now, the way they used to make them, they'd take 4 inches of cold rolled steel, and then they'd put copper behind it. And then behind that would be like the cement for fire. When you put the drill in, you always had to feel this pressure, right? So you could feel it was cold rolled steel. It was going. Now, the purpose of the copper was to bind the drill exactly for that reason, because once you came through there and you hit that copper, it would just wrap all around your drill and it was over. So you had to be exact. So here I am, you're feeling it. And when you hit the copper, you got to come off the pressure, you know? And I busted into this thing, you know, and I opened it up. And then when I looked, and I was not prepared, there were those 2 doors inside with the little, you know, the little round locks. I go, oh, you know, but they're filming. So I just looked up and I grabbed this hammer and I looked at a little chisel and boom! I knocked both blocks out. The guy goes, ah! It was like, I felt like I just graduated, you know, Harvard or something. You know, it was great. So yeah, that was one of my proudest moments. I called my mother and she said, that's my boy. I mean, I got pretty good at opening safes. It's a wonderful thing to be good at. But it was good because my sister, may she rest in peace, I loved her. I came home, and she was hysterical, and she had one of these floor safes in this house that they bought, and she couldn't open it, you know? They bought the house. She goes, what are you, come on, you did that stupid picture, you know? Actually, I went to work, and I got the thing open. It was great. So I learned some good stuff in case things go bad.